my fellow readers, is I, Dark Symphony 777 with another fan fiction review. As always, links to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts of the video, and finally, this is my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of everyone in the world, so please respect that. So, the story I'm doing a review of today is For the Longest Time by Social Coyote. It is a Doki Doki Literature Club. Oh no, I can sense her coming. The smug! I can't, no! Not the smug! Not her! No! No! Ah! So yeah, this is a story about Monica. Yes, Monica. Yes, everyone knows what the Doki Doki. I mean, Doki Doki. Doki Doki. I'm making myself tongue-tied. So just ignore it. Ignore it! So... Getting that weird tangent out of the way, because I deserve it. What is this story about? Well, this is a really, really complex story full of... This story right here. This author's note kind of just sums it up. This story will in due time contain moments depicting or referencing self-harm, depression, suicidal thoughts and actions, abuse, slurs, and violence. While most of these were present in the source material, I feel it prudent to warn anyone who finds the listed subject matter to be too personal and to perhaps find another story. Take care of yourselves. Yes, this is a very dark story. This is a pretty deep story. Almost to the point where it's kind of over the top. We'll get back to that in a second. But to start, in terms of timeline, this story actually takes place after the events of I guess you could call it the true ending. It depends on how you want to judge staring Monica in like a void a true ending. Where like the main character deletes Monica from the game. Sayori kind of becomes president of the literature club. She kind of becomes aware of everything around her, and then Monica has to actually breach back in and fix everything in order to save Sayori from the pain of what happened. And this is one of the most confusing. I will say this has a very confusing plot. On like the surface, at the core, it's actually surprisingly simple, but how it's presented at the beginning is like kind of cryptic because Monica just randomly wakes up and like the literature club again, and she's just massively confused about what's going on. It's like, wait, I deleted the game. I stopped Sayori. Wait, why? What? Wait. Why are we back in the literature club? Why are they saying? Like, what happened? More or less, the player in this context, because it's still in a game, did something to the game, and did it so that way Monica could have an actual life. That's more or less the bare minimum for the plot. It's just the player did something to a file of Doki Doki Literature Club in order for Monica to have like a happy life, get like her happy ending, just be happy at the end of the day. And this is her journey on trying to become true friends with Sayori and Natsuki and Yuri, and not only give herself a happy ending, but give the other Dokis a happy ending as well. And I think that's pretty sweet. Like you can't really do a more simple plot. That's why I said it's very cryptic, but once you get to its core, it's at its core a very basic, simple story, because it's just I want to be happy, I want to make them happy, let's just do it. But there's a lot of twists and turns, especially with all this. There is references to conversion therapy later in the story because of all that. There's abuse. There's like Like at the end of the story, Natsuki literally loses an eye, which kind of shows you how deep the author wanted to go with this type of story. And it's a really emotional story. Now, I will say this when it comes to this type of story, despite the fact this shows hurt, comfort, and romance, this is, at its core, a drama story. Or more specifically, a melodrama. Now, you're wondering, what is a melodrama? A melodrama is something of a subset type of drama. There is a one big difference between a drama and a melodrama. They more or less have the same job of telling a story. They try to get you into the story and try and evoke an emotional response. Melodramas tend to be very over the top with it. And that's not for everyone. I'm going to be quite honest. As a drama story, I hate the story. I hate for the longest time purely as a drama story because exclusively I do not like melodramas. I never been a fan of them. Keep in mind, if we go right here, these are like all the top fics. Most of these, if not almost all of these, are dramas. Drama, 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 big time drama, 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 technically. Drama, 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 more in the second half, but still drama. Drama, drama. Technically. So that's like the majority of what I consider the best fan fictions I've ever read, drama. And I'm a huge fan of the genre. It's my favorite genre. So to say I hate this because it's a drama kind of hurts to say. I will say that once I take away the drama element, like if I say like, how would I rate this as a drama? I would rate it pretty lowly because I'm specifically just not a fan of this type of drama. It has nothing to do with the characters or the plot or anything to do once you get to the technical stuff. When you get to the technical stuff, this story is amazing. I wouldn't say not on this level, but probably like more here, like mid S. It's still really good. It's just not my type of story. I'm more of a sucker for traditional dramas. I don't like the over the top dramas that this type of story is pulling. It's more of a matter of taste than anything else. But I also understand that melodramas tend to have a really large audience. Like, anyone watch like any soap opera? Young and the Restless, anything from Telenova. Guess what? They're all melodramas. And guess what? They tend to be very popular. They're just not for everyone's taste, more or less. So, when it comes to the once we're removing the drama element from it, what is the plot from a technical standpoint? The plot, more or less, is from a pure technical standpoint, is the player reconstructs the game Doki Doki Literature Club as a full-on, implied to be full-on simulation for Monica to be happy. That's what this story is on a technical level. It's just a full-on simulation so that way Monica can have the life she wants, so she can fall in love with someone, she can be happy, she can find herself and realize what she's been missing. I think that is a great tale to tell. And from Monica's angle, it's the fact that she realizes she has a second chance, and she wants she wants to fix her mistakes. Like, this is a very emotional story. And while I wasn't really into the emotional stuff, because again, just how it, as a presentation sort of standpoint, I understand a lot of the details what the author was trying to go into, like the lead touches, like with early on, Monica was having nightmares and she was constantly scratching her neck, and Sarah was kind of worried about that, and Monica responded to her, "Well, I hurt someone in the past. Like if you know the game, it's referencing to how Sayori died with her neck being broken." Yeah, like, I don't know, maybe forcing someone to hang themselves without like regrets and then regretting like after once they get like mind bending controls. Yeah, that's kind of that would kind of give you nightmares and kind of make you want to scratch your neck at the rope that's around it. But with Monica's journey has a lot of twists and turns. Like she realizes, hey, that festival that the literature club that was doing, the whole in-universe plot of Doki Doki Literature Club, not the actual plot, but the like in-universe plot that they're setting up for the festival. It gets to do that, and then it gets ruined by a girl who is completely jealous of Monica because it turns out Monica, at least in this story, was head of a debate club. She left to form the literature club. The vice president, a girl named Minori, took over, was asked by Sayori, because Sayori is bisexual in this story, which was a complete surprise to Monica, because I liked a lot of the little detail. That's another thing. A lot of little details and little plot points early in the story constantly catch Monica off guard because she was so used to how the game ran that anything that deviated from that completely caught her off guard. Like when Sayori really revealed that, oh, I hit on a girl. It's like, she goes, so what? And her brain just shut down because she was so used to like Natsuki, Yuri, and Sayori just going after the boy. She's like completely caught off guard by the fact that Sayori's likes girls too. It's like, ha! And it kind of splinters from there because Monica's homeless, and then when the festival happens, Sayori actually tries to kill herself after the festival, but Monica manages to try and kind of coax her to come off the bridge. But then Sayori gets spooked. Like like the mental image of both Monica and Sayori like leaning over the bridge, like as like Monica trying to earn Sayori's forgiveness. Not only for what happened at the festival, but also what happened in the game, like with the hanging. Like Monica's trying to like help Sayori and try and earn forgiveness for what happened in the past. Keep in mind, Sayori doesn't even know what happened until like the very end of the game, where Monica, oh, guess what? She kills herself. Monica deletes herself from the game, and Sayori, because she's convinced that because of how the simulate, like, oh, if I delete myself, because of probably like how everything goes. See, like the literature club's closed down. Like Sayori's probably not gonna get the memories. Guess what? Sayori gets the memories. She realizes what happened, and guess what? She's big mad. and of course, like going back to the bridge, like you have the image of Sayori and Monica on the railing on the bridge, and Monica holding Sayori's hand, saying like, if you jump off the bridge to kill yourself, I'll be right there with you, and I'm willing to kill myself too. But if you get back on the street, I'll be with you with then, and trying to help Monica trying to help Sayori and all that. And then Sayori gets spooked because a car honks behind her and she kind of falls, and then Monica has to go and save her. And like a big part of the story, like a big chunk of like I think the rest of the second act is just the fact that Sayori's recovering. She had like a broken arm, a broken leg, and she's suffering from amnesia problems. I'll talk about the amnesia issues because I got to talk about that because it's kind of an issue. And of course, Monica gets hurt. Now she's trying to recover, trying to help Sayori out as basically as forgiveness because she feels like she wrong Sayori the most, and she makes a promise to herself that she's try and protect all the other literature club members, so that way as like penance for what she did in the game. It doesn't work because they all like suffer through all their trials and tribulations. I think it's really well done from a technical standpoint of how like balancing all the dokis and giving each of them time to shine, because there's really only 4 characters. There's a bunch of supporting characters like Monika's parents and Minori and also Ichiro, who's constantly mentioned, which is Yuri's brother, and showcasing not only like the level of depth that the author is willing to go and cross these lines and do like all this really disturbing stuff and all that. It's really quite beautifully written, and the plot is basically just a key point in how the presentation, how the not the presentation, because I don't like the presentation, how the plot is progressed with all these all these plot threads, like Yuri's cutting herself, and also Yuri having like her parents dead, or like Natsuki's abuse, and also like all the plot threads involving Monika and Sayori, like with the relationship, like the fact that Sayori runs away from home and becomes homeless along with Monika, so that way she can be with Monika. Monika's growing obsession, all their fights because they don't know how to, because Monika just doesn't know how to like do a relationship right because of just how she was used to in the game, and Sayori and then like there's the conversion therapy, there's the homophobia, there's like all the suicide stuff, like the story is trying to evoke a very powerful message, and try and tug at the heartstrings. I think it did a good enough job. Again, it didn't personally do a good job for me, but again, that's more just like what the story is trying to do in terms of its presentation and all that. But I think from a technical like from a pure writing standpoint, this plot is really well done. All the plot threads, they kind of thread together. The only one I have an issue with is the amnesia plot, because so more or less, Sayori, when she gets saved, she gets a big bruise, like a big gash in the back of her head. And when Monika saves her, she starts to get memory issues. The problem is twofold. One, there is this one kind of feels tacked off because there's so many, mainly because there's so much going on in so many plot threads, like with involving all 4 dokis and how they're interacting and all that. That one plot thread is just gonna kind of stand out as just being like kind of tacked on and just kind of there. And that kind of unfortunately was the amnesia plot thread. It doesn't help the fact that the amnesia stuff doesn't really start until late into Act 2, and kind of just feels half-assed. Thrown in like, oh, I get why, because you're doing retrograde antegrade amnesia, and like so like Sayori fell off a bridge 80 feet into a raging river. Like, okay, it's actually very realistic for something like that to happen, and then you end up with amnesia, with like retrograde antegrade amnesia. That's very realistic. I'm not gonna fault the author for going like a realistic route, because and again, it is an actual taste of realism on how to incorporate this. So I don't have an issue with the realism at all. The issue I have is the fact that it's not implemented naturally into the story, because it not only happens pretty late into the second act, which is it happened probably around, what was the chapter? Not the chapter, little around chapter 9, around here. I think around chapter 9. So it starts up pretty late, but also very inconsistent, because once the mention for the amnesia point happens, it disappears until pretty late into until around here. like when Sayori and Monica start living together. So it's like it shows up, it just disappears, and then it just shows up very late into the story again, and that causes the amnesia, along with the fact that there's so much going on, so many different plot threads that the authors trying to connect to each other and trying to close off to make sure that there's no plot holes and stuff like that. It makes the amnesia stuff come off as just kind of it's just kind of there. It just kind of exists. And I honestly, that's really my only big. No, there is Sayori's character. Okay, going back. Okay, I talked enough about the plot. What about the characters? 3 out of 4. Yuri, Natsuki, and Monica are really well done. I have no issues with them. Natsuki and Yuri, they're more or less like supporting characters. They're not really that important to the story unless the author needs them for a specific to kind of push a plot point. That's kind of like another thing where I like about the story is the fact that the author kind of switches. While the story is focused on Monica, like Monica is the main character along with Sayori. Sayori is technically the other main character. The author kind of adds in like the dynamics of Sayori and Natsuki and Yuri to kind of push each plot thread, and it kind of moves them around like all the time in order to kind of make each plot like kind of stretch each plot thread. Like each of them goes missing. All right, kind of have Natsuki like Yuri goes missing. Okay, have Natsuki join in order to push that thread and kind of weave that thread and finish it off. Natsuki goes missing. Have Yuri get involved. Finish up that plot thread. And when Sayori has to leave, when Sayori moves out and by her mother's order and has to go to the conversion therapy, Natsuki and Yuri are just completely gone because, well, at that time, Natsuki's in the hospital recovering like all her injuries, and Yuri's kind of focused on Natsuki rather than anything else. So it's Monica by herself. Although I could do without the mental image of Monica kind of touching herself while sniffing Sayori's pants. Kind of gross. Every single character role, even the more minor characters like Mrs. Kuromoso and Minori, they do have their roles. But this is a Monica hour. This is a clear focus on Monica, and Monica is really well done. Like her, just like it's. Sure, I don't like her presentation because again, part of the melodrama. But at her core, Monica's character is phenomenal. Like her despair, her obsessive habit of constantly wanting to help Sayori and Natsuki and Yuri, and then failing, and then just having it build up inside her to the point where she technically kills herself by just deleting her file, and even like the nice touch that when Sayori comes to the file location to kind of get Monica's file back out of like the recycling bin, like like it's not moved, like she's clicking on it and touching Monica's file, like, but it's not budging. It's like here, like, and it's like, all right, fine, and all that, and like all her nuances, like the scratching, and also like even early on in the story, like every time she looked at them, she actually sees like how they ended up with like Natsuki, like the broken neck and the black eyes, and she even sees Sayori with like the rope still around her neck and like the dead eyes are staring at her, just reaching for her. It's really graphic at times, and I think it is a lot of nice touches, like how it shows and like how it gets into her mindset, like her obsession with trying to make everyone happy, her obsession with her obsession of wanting to keep a relationship with Sayori alive, even to even to the point where she realizes like when they come back and Sayori's like, I don't want to date you anymore. They do get back together at the end but that's because of the fact Sayori's just kind of sort everything out of her mind, because now she has the memories of like what happened in the game. and she's just trying to sort all that and trying to figure things out and stuff like that. And Monica's trying is basically just so worried about like ruining what might be, even a loss of friendship or anything like that. That she's just that she does. They do a lot of talking and all that. It does get repetitive. That's another issue I have with that's the only issue I have with Monica's character is a lot of her character moments, like her key character moments, are very repetitive. Like, okay, she wants to protect the girl, the Dokis from and give them a happy ending. All right, and then a couple chapters later, it's like she goes, "I want to protect the Dokis from harm and make sure they have happy." It's like you already did this, fine, and then it just kind of repeats her character. I get that's kind of the point because that you could make the argument that's the point of her character is like a self-harming prophecy, like she's going mentally she's going in a cycle because of how mentally broken she is, which it which is why she needs to constantly reevaluate, like reestablish the plot point, like protecting the Dokis, make sure they're happy, is basically just another turn in the wheel and cycle. Yeah, and yeah, I can make an argument. I didn't like it, but I can see the argument for like the whole self fulfilling prophecy. Natsuki and Yuri, they're fine. They're more supporting characters than main characters, but they get the job done. They're really really entertaining. I love what the author did with them, like kind of the whole will they won't they relationship. Natsuki's a bitch as always, like and Yuri. And I also love the fact that you made Yuri part Russian. I don't know if that's Russian. If Yuri's like actually canonically like Russian, let me know. I'm genuinely curious. I may actually look it up after I finish recording. But I don't have any problems with Yuri and Natsuki. I love their little characters, their growth, like Yuri becoming more confident, like she loses her stutter as the story goes on because she finds the confidence herself. She gets the confidence to start dating Natsuki. He's like, I love you, Natsuki. Okay. And Natsuki kind of realizes she become more feminine and start relying on other people. It's a they're more their character developments are more background because again the story focuses heavily on Monica and Sayori, but you can see as the story goes along, as you see them interacting, you see the character development shining through and all that. And then you have Sayori, and this is where the praise ends. I don't like Sayori's character because she has a lot of depth. I want to say this first. See, character depth and character development, two different things. Sayori has a lot of character development, has a lot of character depth. I think it's really nice with her parents and like how she grew up and even like a little character moments. She doesn't have a lot of character development. On the other hand, and that's kind of disappointing because she's more or less the other main character along with Monica. Like a large portion of this story is Monica trying to help Sayori specifically. She helps Natsuki and Yuri along the way, but most of her focus is on Sayori. The main relationship is Monica and Sayori, and as good as I want to give Monica's character, I can't say the same for Sayori because she's kind of flat for like the bulk of the story. She does get character development eventually, like near the end, like around here. Around chapter 24, 25 is when she gets character development, and that's really late in the story. Now, I will say the character development is good, but the fact that she was such a essentially flat character for such a bulk of the story. Granted, a lot of the bulk is focused on Monica, so that heavily softens the blow of Sayori not getting that as much character development because Monica just got all the character development and like everything before Sayori leaves, and even after Monica still gets a lot of good character development. So while I am, so I will say that I don't like the fact that Sayori's character development doesn't come until very late in the story. It is very well done with her getting the memories from the time and her becoming more self assured and the amnesia fixer and more like and finding hope and finding peace to finally overcome her depression because even like you can even make the argument like okay she didn't get as much character development in the early story because of the depression, which is a truthfully realistic depiction of depression. They get just like Monica and her self-fulfilling prophet, like the self-fulfilling mental breakdown she's had. Depression tends to like cycle itself. Like as someone who does have depression, there are days where I just randomly, I get depressed and all that. I just don't really want to function. I just get sad. I have to try and push through, and that makes Sayori just really realistic. Like you could make the argument that Sayori doesn't get as much character development as Monica because of the depression, because the depression would realistically kind of make that difficult for her to wanna grow. And yeah, that's actually a legitimate argument you can make. I don't like it because I don't like how realistic it is. But if you want to make that argument, I can say, yeah, go ahead. If I wanted to be realistic, I probably would have made not had it have it so late because this is this long and you didn't need to only say the set if Sayori wasn't as crucial to the plot as she was, I wouldn't be complaining that much. But the fact that she is essentially the main, like next to Monica, the other main character. It highlights the lack of character development so much more, and it really. I just wish it happens. I wish the character development happened sooner. Is all I'm saying. But what we got is good, and again, you can make a legitimate argument with the depression. Uh, Grammar and sentence structure, it's really well done. Pacing, it's a very slow paced story, and that's again that's like something that dramas really excel at. It needs to excel at a slow paced story. It really needs to give you that sense of feeling sucked into the world. Again, my issues with the story as a drama is more the presentation of it rather than the technical stuff. The technical stuff is really well done. The presentation just really over the top and just kind of turns me off. But I have no complaints on the grammar. I have no complaints on the pacing, the sentence structure, how everything is written from a pure writing standpoint. Everything is well done. Would I recommend it? Yes, unless you're like a purist drama fanatic like I am, then you're just not gonna like it because you're just gonna get turned off by like how over the top. Like this story is very over the top with how it presents Doki's. Like everyone is just over the top, overly dramatic, which again fits a melodrama. It fits what this story is trying to present, and that's fine. But it's just it's not this type of drama is just not for everyone. But if you're willing to put the time and the effort, you're gonna read through a really dark, depressing, over the top depressing, but a really engaging story full of characters that you'll actually start to care about. Like I said, Monica is really well done. Yuri's really well done. Natsuki's really well done. Sayori, you have to wait until near the end of the story, but when she does, she works. That will give you a good time. I genuinely enjoyed this story. I don't. I do. I have a favorite part though. Do I have a favorite part? Um. Hmm. probably yeah, probably this entire chapter, the entirety of chapter 28, because it's the second half of the story where Sayori knows what's happened. She escaped. She managed to escape from the conversion therapy. She went to go find. She now that she knows all the knowledge, she kind of knows where Monica might delete herself. She goes into the MC's old decrepit house, finds the computer, tries to drag her out, and this was like the first time in the story where it just removes the melodrama. It's just like pure emotional, like emotional gut punch to the kidneys as Sayori tries to get Monica out and realizes how mentally broken Monica is. Like think of it from Monica's standpoint, over and over, hours upon days, months, years of witness of forcing all the continuous deaths of the Dokis and killing them over and over again to get a faceless character, to obsess over a faceless character, a faceless player, and trying to find love. And then the player rewrites the game, recodes the game, so that way Monica could be happy. And she continuously fucks it up over and over. In her mind, fucks it up over and over and over, and she slowly breaks down. All the hope long gone, all the happiness gone as she, and then seeing Sayori have to leave and Natsuki in the hospital. It breaks her to the point where she gets depression herself, and she kills herself. And Sayori breaking out of the conversion therapy and going in and basically finding her file, copying it so that way she can go and get Monica and drag her out, and seeing just how broken Monica is and trying her hardest, and like seeing like a kid version of Monica as like the last resistance, and then ending up in the void of seeing Monica just like rot like in a void, just broken and like so much sound, and trying, and Sayori just trying to drag her out, and then eventually managing to do that, and then Monica, and just trying to get some mental sense into Monica, and trying to convince her that everything's okay, that I'm back, we're gonna try and fix this, like you spent all your time trying to fix us, but let and fix me, let let me fix you. And it really, like, this was the first and only time in the story that I actually started feeling for the characters, like it bled, like the whole sense of like bleeding them out, like all the over the top, all the all of the over the top, this presentation toned down, and it was just a genuine conversation between the two characters that was just full of emotion and full of tears, and how Monica was just trying to go back and re-delete herself, and Siri having to hold her down, and trying to convince Monica to stay for her, to stay for Natsuki, to stay for Yuri, to stay to be happy. And it was just such an emotional part of the story. Ignoring everything else. This part, this entire chapter of just Sayori just seeing Monica laid bare and trying to just get through to her was just honestly such a beautifully written scene. And it really brings a tear. And it's really worth the read. Like I As for like final thoughts, what would I fix? I mean, you can make an argument for Sayori's character getting pushed back, but but I don't think that would. I don't think that would matter in the long run. I think may I honestly, if there was anything I would fix, I would probably maybe have Sayori's parents involved more in the story, or more specifically the mother, because of how important, how much of a specter she is in the story, and how the mother is technically like the last thing the Dokis have to deal with it before they actually get their happy ending. So I think maybe had the mother involved a bit more, but that's such a minor thing that you wouldn't need to do it. Yeah, but that's all I really have to say about For the Longest Time. Social Coyote, you made a really good story. I I do think this story is worth the read. I like this little I like this little artwork, like Monica being the wolf and all that. I think it's just yeah, I don't really have anything more to say. Just you did a good job. I don't really just be like Siori and take. I I guess the story got me more emotional than I thought. You did you did good, author. You did good.